Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be recapping Love is Blind, Season 6, Episode 10, What Could Have Been. So we are starting off with Jeremy, and as we know, his mother was supposed to be coming over to meet Laura, but really it's just Jeremy talking to his mom, and he is explaining, what happened before. He's explaining that he had went out. It was supposed to be hanging out with the guys from the pod. He found out Sarah Ann was going to be there, and he explained that in the pods Sarah Ann was another person that he was building a relationship with. And, he ended up being out super late with Sarah Ann. Laura, by the time he got home, he let Laura know the next morning. And Laura is upset about it. And Jeremy's mom says, "Well, I could have told you that, and you wouldn't have been coming home to me." That's right. That's right, Jeremy's mom. Because even though that's your child, you got to be real. You got to be real with Jeremy. Jeremy, yeah, you messed up on this one. You definitely messed up. So moving on to Jimmy and Chelsea, they are actually going to meet Jimmy's parents and his sister, and they're going to have some dinner. So we see Jimmy's family walking up, and honestly, they look so sweet and so kind. And they're having dinner, and they're just talking in general, kind of asking about the process, asking Chelsea a couple of questions. But it's the typical, meet the parents, first meeting, meet and greet type of thing. But it is really sweet. His parents and family seems really nice. Jimmy, what happened? No, I'm just teasing. Jimmy is actually, he seems like he's a little bit better the last couple of episodes, so I'm not gonna be on him too tough. We don't think. So now we have Clay and AD, and Clay is meeting AD's mom. And, they are out. Looks like they're about to get something to eat together. But before Clay comes in, AD and her mom are already sitting down together. And AD is mentioning that, when you see him today, this will be my first time seeing him today. And she is going on to say that she had planned like a little date, a little DIY type of date for Clay, but apparently, once again, he didn't come home. And so the mom is like, what, he worked for the Secret Service or something? Yeah, exactly, because Clay, what is going on? You rent jet skis out. I mean, am I missing something that you got to be gone all night? Now, we know from the previous episode that Clay mentioned that he works out of town. It's not, I mean, it's up the road if you're in the area, if you're familiar with the area that they are in. It's not that he's not driving 2 hours to get back and forth to rent jet skis. So again, I'm not understanding why he has to be out overnight. Um, the other thing that Clay comes in and he's talking up, he does come in and he's talking immediately about his family life and his upbringing. And he said it before and he's saying it again that, he looks to his parents relationship. His parents were married for 24 years, but then they got divorced, and how the impact that has on a family. And it's very true. I mean, children of divorce have a very difficult time, even though Clay was older because, his parents were married for 24 years. So Clay was older, and he also mentioned the fact that before he'd never seen a man be with one woman. He's never seen it in his entire life. Clay is going to have a really difficult time processing being with one woman because I don't think he believes it can be done because he's never seen it. AD's mom, she is really trying to instill some good, advice to the both of them, and how she's letting, both of them know that nobody is perfect. This is something you guys are going to have to work on together. But, it was a really good conversation, but I definitely think Clay he may need therapy. And he said it again in this setting. He mentioned therapy and the fact that he may need it. Clay, you do. You do, and you do because everything that you have seen, there is a hurt there, and you should really talk to somebody about that. So Clay actually walks away and gives AD and her mom an opportunity to talk for a minute. And AD is really getting emotional. Like, you can really tell that AD heart is in this. Like, she is in it. And her mom is just telling her how much she really likes Clay. She approves of Clay, and she's saying that she's never seen her daughter talk this way about a man before. AD is saying, I would follow him off of a cliff. Well, that's a bit much. But what I am noticing about Clay is that he does seem like he is hiding something. And it could just be the what he is holding from his own background, from his family hurt or whatever. But he has a facade up, in my opinion. He's smiling, but behind his eyes is something else. Like, he's not fully here. And one of the reasons you can tell that is because he's not even staying overnight at the shared space with AD. So he's not fully in this, although AD is. So, we'll have to see this play out. But AD's mom, she approves. She approves of Clay. Now, Amy and Johnny are sitting out and they are actually going to meet Amy's dad. And as Amy's dad is coming down, Amy immediately, she's already starting to tear up and get emotional because she's just, thinking about how good he looks, and he just has on a suit. But as, they are sitting down and talking, and her dad is talking about when she was a little girl, and the things that he wanted for her out throughout her life, and what he has been praying for her is that she will meet and find someone that will laugh with her, cry with her, and build a life together, so that when he is gone, there will be no worry or concern about his daughter. And when I tell you, this was the sweetest conversation. And you can see, like, Amy is so sweet, and Johnny is too. They really make a good couple. And again, they haven't had any major hiccups or blowups, no drama at all since the season started. So, they this is a really good match, and these are, I believe, they are definitely they were the first one to get engaged, and they're going to make it to the altar and beyond. So Johnny does ask Amy's dad for her hand in marriage. And he kind of pauses a little bit, but I believe the dad does that for dramatic effect. But of course, he says yes. Again, this was such a sweet interaction. I mean, a beautiful interaction. And I am tearing up just a little bit, right with Amy, because Amy has been crying just about this whole time. So we are back with Jimmy and Chelsea, and they are back at their shared apartment. And it is the same day that Chelsea met Jimmy's family, and Jimmy is saying, this was a really big day for me. It was a really important day, and I'm so happy you were able to meet my family. I really love you. And she was like, I love you too, but I was cranky this morning. And I'm thinking right now, here we go, Chelsea. Here we go. So Chelsea is saying, she got upset with Jimmy because the night before Jimmy had gone out. After the camera crew left, Jimmy got ready to go out. It was his friend's birthday. And Chelsea got a little bit upset because he didn't ask her to go with him to the birthday. And Jimmy says, well, I did ask you, but you were already bundled up and ready for bed, and you didn't want to go. You had already said. And she said, well, you know, I heard people said that they saw you out, and they were texting me saying, Jimmy's out. Why aren't you out with him? And Chelsea said she was embarrassed by that. And Jimmy said, I was gone for an hour. I went, had one drink, and came back. And Chelsea is saying, but that's just really embarrassing because I don't want to be with somebody that wants to go out. On one hand, I can understand that, but Chelsea, he was gone an hour. Girl, you gonna have to relax a little bit. Let the man live. And if you were concerned about it, he asked you to go. You should have put your clothes on and went on with him. But other than that, Chelsea, calm down. So Chelsea is continuing to tell Jimmy, when we were in the pods, you said that you really didn't go out and you didn't do anything. And Jimmy is like, that's not exactly what I said. What I said was, I do go to a wine bar or something like that, but I don't hang out all night. I go and then I go home. I'm always home at a decent hour. And Chelsea is saying, well, you lied to me in the pods, and now she's getting emotional. Chelsea, we've talked about this before, friend. We've talked about this before. Let's go ahead and call a therapist, because for you to be so insecure about Jimmy going out for an hour, and you agreed that it was an hour, or he got back home really quickly, you should have some level of comfort with that. But instead, you really own Jimmy about him having a drink with his friend on the birthday. And is it because he went out and had a drink with his friend, or is it because your friend saw him out and text you and said, "Why aren't you with him?" Another thing, Chelsea, is why are you embarrassed by that? What is embarrassing about, they didn't say they saw him with another woman. All they said was, your fiance is out. Where are you? Why aren't you out? That's a normal question that somebody would ask. They're not telling you he was with somebody else. Chelsea, please. So, from the previous episode, we know that Jimmy has female friends. Chelsea has met those female friends. Now, guys, in the comments, let's talk about, can you have a monogamous relationship with the opposite sex? Because that is where Chelsea's fears are stemming from. Jimmy went out to have a drink with his friends who are female. The people from the pods were also there and began to text Chelsea. Jimmy asked Chelsea, "Do you want to go?" Chelsea didn't want to go because Chelsea wanted to go to bed early. Chelsea does not like to hang out. She said it. So Jimmy is saying now, okay, are you saying you want me to, take a step back from my friends? And Chelsea said, "Well, I have asked you that." And he said, "You've not asked me that, but is that what you're saying?" And Chelsea says, "Yes." And Jimmy says, "I'm not getting ready to do it." Well, okay, well, Chelsea, what you gonna do? What you gonna do now, girl? What would you guys do in the comments? I mean, this is a tough situation. Jimmy made it clear to her that two of his best friends were female. She met the best friends. They seemed to like her. And now Chelsea's in a situation where her fiance is hanging out with his friends, as he always does. And from what Jimmy is saying, he doesn't even do this a lot. But the one time, I guess, that he has done it, Chelsea has a problem. And apparently, Jimmy also texts his quote unquote female friends a lot. And Chelsea has a problem with it. And she doesn't want him to text them as much as he's texting them. And she doesn't want him to hang out with his friends. So Jimmy is saying, I'm not giving up my friends. If you want to be in my life, you got to accept my friends too. And Chelsea is saying she don't want it. Chelsea, I don't know. I feel like you do want it. I feel like you would put up with whatever. But, not that it's anything wrong with Jimmy having female friends. This is something that you guys should have discussed and should have came to an agreement on before. But here we are. So Jimmy, he walks away. He goes on into the restroom and he's brushing his teeth. And, Chelsea comes in, and now we're getting a little bit more clarity on the situation and why Chelsea feels the way she does. So apparently, Jimmy has slept with one of his girlfriends, one of the female friends, one of the ones that Chelsea actually met. Well, now that throws a whole other caveat into this. I mean, I can't say I would want you hanging around without me either. But that's why, Chelsea, you should have went with him. That's number one. But number two, Jimmy, yeah, yeah, I gotta side with Chelsea on this one. You might need to take a step back, but the lady, whoever you slept with, she also needs to take a step back if she respects you in your relationship. If not, that's a whole nother thing. But Chelsea, I at this point, if you don't like what Jimmy is giving, go ahead and walk away, because it's one thing that I'm not geared to be in a relationship, and that's stressed. You're not fixing to stress me out. And Chelsea, you seem stressed. Jimmy seems stressed. Like, both of y'all seem stressed. Like, this is not going to work. Both of you need to go ahead and cut your losses. Jimmy and Chelsea are continuing to argue, and Chelsea all brings up the fact that she feels like Jimmy went out with Jessica. Well, which is, the other person, the EpiPen. And Jimmy is like, you fishing now. I didn't see Jess. I've never even seen her in person. I've only seen a picture of her. So who told you that? I do believe, Chelsea, that you are fishing on that one. Now you're just trying to, and you're really coming out very, very insecure. And I hate to say this, but you whining, and I think you trying to get a reaction out of Jimmy, and no, this is not a good look. This is not a good look. It seems like you're just trying to make him. You're using your tears. You're using your tears to get a reaction out of Jimmy, to maybe spark some type of feeling or emotion out of him to make him feel bad. And, Jimmy doesn't feel like he's done anything wrong. Yes, he went out to the bar with his friends. He said he was only gone for an hour and a half. You agreed that he was gone and came right back. But again, if you're going to be this insecure, you should have hopped in that car with him. Chelsea, in my opinion, is the prime example of, you know, don't say things in a relationship that you don't mean. She said multiple times, if you're going to do this, I don't want to be here. If you're going to say this, if you're going to act this way, I don't want this. If you're going to continue to do this, I don't want it. So he presses back on her now and says, so if you're saying that I have to act this way or do this, then you don't want to be here, then I don't want to be here. So now she's in her feelings, she's crying, and Jimmy is getting ready to leave. She gets up and says, don't leave. Ma'am, you told I can't count how many times you said you don't want this. Be careful what you say. And honestly, let him go. Let him go, and you go somewhere else too, ma'am, because this is this is a circus. This is a circus. Like, you two, no, this is not gonna work. And I will give this to Jimmy. Honestly, I don't think that he loves Chelsea, but I do think that he is trying to make this thing stick. I really do. Again, he don't love her. I don't feel like he loves her. Not like that. Not yet. I think love can grow there. But because Chelsea is losing it, like the wheels are coming off quickly, um, he doesn't love her. But I have to give Jimmy credit. He is really trying to make her feel secure. But whatever he does, it doesn't matter. It's not mattering. She wants more. She wants him to do everything that she wants him to do. And Chelsea, you can't be in a relationship like that. I'm sorry, sweet pea. So we're over at the shared apartment for Clay and AD, and it looks like both of them are kind of working, remotely from home, but they're kind of talking through some things, and um, AD's sisters are coming in town for their dress fittings, and they're also working on their marriage certificate. And again, Clay is under a lot of pressure. He's bringing up, once again, his parents' divorce and, not wanting to um, do that to anybody, not wanting to cheat on AD. He is putting himself under a lot of pressure. He begins to talk about, he watched previous seasons of Love is Blind, I guess the night before, and he was saying, those guys seemed ready. And the way they were speaking is different from how, my thought process is, and they seemed like they were ready. Clay is really given, I'm not ready for this. You know, oh, that's on one hand. On the other hand, he's trying to comfort AD and say, I feel like you are a really great person. I feel like we're a good match. We gel in a lot of areas. In intimacy, you're my best friend. I love our conversations. Clay don't want to get married. I don't know if he's getting cold feet. I don't know if it's the pressure that he is under right now, which is a pressure he is imposing on himself. But it feels like Clay is not ready to get married. So AD is actually picking up on this as well. And she says, when I came in this process, we committed to a timeline. And I'm okay at whatever you say at the altar. If it's a yes or no, I'm okay. But what I'm not get ready to do is be a long-term fiance. So what we won't do is date after the altar if you say no. Now, he's saying, well, that's a lot to think about. So already Clay's mind, he not ready. He's not get ready to say yes. And that's kind of where he was leading that conversation. Yeah, I would be very surprised if he says yes. I know that AD will say yes, but Clay doesn't appear to be ready. He's under a lot of pressure that he's putting on himself. So we are back over to Jimmy and Chelsea, and Chelsea apparently went back home wherever she lives normally, and that's where she stayed maybe the night before. And so now she's back, and they're just kind of talking about what happened. And Jimmy says, you said a lot of things, and it really hurts Chelsea. Jimmy is saying that it hurt his feelings that she does not believe that he loves her. I don't believe it either, Jimmy. I mean, but okay, go off, I guess. But I mean, I understand you may care for her, but I don't think you love her. But I understand. I do feel like Jimmy is really trying to stick this out. Like he is really trying to make Chelsea feel good, make her feel comfortable. Whatever he's doing, it's not working. Chelsea is saying, well, I apologize. I was horrible. Okay, so here we go with the over dramatics. I was horrible, but I was just trying to tell you my feelings. And I feel like you're throwing in the towel over a hiccup. Chelsea, this was more than a hiccup. I mean, Jimmy, to me, he could have been gone because your antics are out of control. You use your tears a lot to be manipulative and controlling, and it didn't work. It didn't work on Jimmy. I'm sorry for you, but and at the same time, I understand Chelsea not being comfortable with Jimmy hanging out with somebody he has slept with. I definitely get that. But, say that versus all the other things that you're saying and trying to manipulate him with your tears. So, Chelsea is saying that I felt more love from you yesterday than I have before. Chelsea, what planet are you on, girl? What is happening? And she also said, Jimmy has already said, I don't want this. I don't want this. And Chelsea said, so you're saying no? And Jimmy is saying, look, last week I went home because we had an argument. And, after I thought about it, I came back and I said that I would never just leave. When we had that argument last night, I wanted to leave, but I didn't. I'm proud of myself. And Chelsea is saying, I just, want to be with someone who's not going to just give up on me. Girl, he already told you no. Are you listening? Are you listening? He already said he gonna say no. Chelsea, please. So after going back and forth, and Chelsea is saying, well, what can I do to get you to say yes, to go from no to yes? And he said, we can't do that again. You crossed the line. And she said, well, you did too. And I'm like, girl, you asked him what can you do to get him to go from no to yes? And he tell you, and you said, well, you do too. Just be quiet and listen. First of all, at this point, you begging, in my humble opinion. But again, they have made up. They have made up, but it won't last. That's my prediction. It's not gonna last. So now all of the couples are having a lake day. They're at the lake, and all the ladies are together. Clay is not yet arrived. AD did say he was coming, but he was working at the moment. Um, and Chelsea walks in with a leather jacket on. Everybody else has on a bathing suit, and Chelsea has on a leather jacket. Chelsea, did you get the memo? What temperature is it? Is it winter? Is it summer? What's happening here? So all of the ladies have gone down to the lake and they're sitting around, and AD brings out the scrunchie of truth. Whoever has the scrunchie got to spill the tea. And who gets the scrunchie first? Laura. Yeah, so let's get into this tea. So Amy actually brings up that Johnny had mentioned to her that Jeremy did hang out with Sarah Ann until 5:30 in the morning, and Jeremy told Johnny that nothing happened. They just talked, and then Amy says, "But he's a man, so we don't know the truth now." I mean, facts. And so, of course, Laura is like, okay, yeah, absolutely. He hung out with Sarah Ann until that time. And, you know, she does not trust Sarah Ann. She went on to say a lot of things about Sarah Ann, but she really is placing the blame on Jeremy because Jeremy is the one that gave Laura the ring. And so Jeremy is the one that should have honored the ring. And so the girls are just talking, and Chelsea says, "Oh, he ain't it, sis." Chelsea, you might just want to sit this one out because you got enough going on, man. So I knew when the couples first got there, some of the ladies came along like AD because Clay is working. I didn't see Jeremy. But we do see as the ladies are talking and Laura is, still kind of talking about what happened between Jeremy and Sarah Ann. Jeremy walks in with his Hawaiian shirt on, and we all know Laura hates Hawaiian shirts. Now, Laura has already said, once that whole situation happened between Jeremy and Sarah Ann, she's left the shared living space. She's been back in her own space. And she said that she really hasn't even talked to Jeremy. So in walks Jeremy, and all the women seem surprised and shocked. He's in the process, y'all. What did y'all think? Of course he's gonna show up. I'm Why are y'all confused by that? And so Jeremy is all the guys are greeting Jeremy, and Jimmy said, I knew you would have on a Hawaiian shirt. He said, yeah, I decided to push it today. Jeremy gives zero F's. Like, he does not care at this point. He knows Laura hates his Hawaiian shirts, and he put it on just for her. So now the guys are talking. It's Jeremy, Jimmy, and Johnny. And so they're kind of asking, okay, so what's been going on between you and Laura? And he said, I haven't talked to Laura in 3 days. I haven't seen her in four. I tried to send her some flowers. She didn't want to give me her address. Then the last message that she sent to Jeremy was, it's really messed up that in my phone you're listed, you went from fiance to just Jeremy. And so Jeremy says to himself when he sees that, why would I fight for this? Why would I continue to fight for this? Well, Jeremy, it's your fault. So, yeah, if it's your fault, you were wrong. Unfortunately, if you want it, you going to have to really do some serious stuff to get it, and sending flowers ain't enough. Sorry. I hate to tell you, but sending flowers is not enough in this situation. So, Jeremy is continuing his spiel over, how he shouldn't have to do that much. And Jimmy is starting to talk about Chelsea and how, she said some things that she didn't mean. And in walks Trevor, and all of the girls are like, is that Trevor? Nobody has seen Trevor yet. So, Chelsea, let's see how you act now. Let's see how you act. So, of course, Chelsea is off to the side in her confessional and saying Trevor is exactly the type of person that she would, that's her type. He's muscular, he's big, he's beefy. She's calling him beefcake. Pipe down, Chelsea, calm down, calm down. Well, next walks in, of course, Jessica. Get out your EpiPen, everybody, and Mackenzie, and of course, so this is everybody coming in from the pods, and this is the first time that some people are seeing and having conversations with people that were behind the wall at some point. So, of course, Jessica and Jimmy are, off to the side talking. And Chelsea sees them going to talk and she says, she's uncomfortable. You should be. But nevertheless, Jimmy and Jessica are talking and they're actually having a pretty good conversation. I'm really surprised that Jimmy is playing it really cool. Like he is not, you know, choking as we thought he would. He's playing it cool, even though I think on the inside he is. The conversation that they are having, Jessica she's been really respectful of his relationship with Chelsea. She's not really saying anything out of the way. Now she does ask him, well, you didn't ever really tell me how you felt about me. And Jimmy, in my opinion, a couple of comments he said he didn't have to say. One of the things he said was, you are really smart. You're the smartest person I know. You're very witty. You're very quick on your feet. You terrify me. Now, the you terrify me, that's a little bit much. Like, you didn't have to say that because that definitely in Jessica's head, I mean, she could definitely be like, oh, yeah, he won it. That's one thing. And the other thing that he ends up saying to her is, were still my number one pick. Jimmy, this is gonna be on TV, right? You know we gonna see this. Like everybody gonna play this back, and you gonna have to come and speak to why you said that. Never mind. We all know that you really want Jessica. Guys, that brings us to the end of the episode. Hey, drop down in the comments below. We really got a lot of things we can talk about in this particular episode. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think men and women can be in a monogamous relationship and, have a friend of the opposite sex and still be with someone else that they truly love? Can that really happen? I don't know. I don't know. And what do y'all think about Jessica and Jimmy? Yeah, it's a wrap, Chelsea. Wrap it on up. But guess what, guys? I will see you the next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.